Stay Ready was a heck. Greetings, y'all. Peace, peace. Happy Gregorian New Year. Welcoming 2022 for whatever it needs to be. We are back. My name is Cindy Lee. Pronouns they and she, host of Sex on Shuffle. And we have here.
I am just Hek, and it's hard to hear. It's hard to talk. But I'm doing it for you guys. This is hot, by the way. All hotness going on.
You are loyal to the soil.
I love you guys 3,000. And yeah, so I'm going to take this off now. But just know I did it for you guys. And
look, that's all I got.
Ooh, Black Panther. That's sexy.
It's a blanket.
Oh my God.
Woo. That was sexy.
Was it?
Yes.
Did it for you guys. Oh man. So
that was sexy. Please get your screenshot on, y'all.
Get my screen.
There's not many opportunities you're gonna get.
Yay. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, so how you doing today, Cindy?
I am here as safe in my house, as fabulous as I can be, despite all the fuck shit going on. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, I'm pretty good. I can't complain.
Good. Okay.
Doing the same. So this episode is a little. I'm excited for it. It's actually been waiting like 2 weeks to kind of get this together. And, you know, obviously, you know, we took time off, and then, you know, stuff was going on, but we're here, and
yes,
we're here.
That's right. Life is happening. Yes. I hope that y'all took breaks or rest if you have the capacity to do so. Mm-hmm. I'm taking a break. I'm still on break. My out of office is up to the 17th. Please let me know if you need help crafting your vacation inbox. I got you.
Yeah. So this is the superhero episode, right? This is the superhero episode, and we you know, obviously we're going to talk about superhero stuff and, you know, Marvel, DC, and anything else that Cindy wants to talk about.
I can't tell who you're into. You're such an enigma around what kind of superheroes you follow. I couldn't tell. I'm sure that the listener, like, you can't tell, right? So like, who is your one of your faves or your favorite, or are you a Marvel versus DC?
I like both. I grew up liking both. I mean, obviously the quality, I have a preference in terms of quality. Right now, Marvel is pushing out the quality.
In terms of films.
Yeah, they've been pushing it out for like the last 10, 15 years. But you know, obviously my favorite is Iron Man. I used to get made fun of as a child because it was like everybody else liked the Hulk, or they liked, you know, if it was Marvel, you like the super spectacular guys. Like Silver Surfer was a big one. X-Men, you know, X-Men in the 90s, people wanted to be Wolverine because he had the claws and
adamantium, of course.
Yeah, and shout out, yeah, definitely. Good, kudos. But I get made fun of because I was like, they're like, oh, he's just smart and rich, and I'm like, yeah, but that's pretty dope. And my you know, my other favorite was I think it was the Hulk. I'm not sure. It's, you know, but whatever. But Iron Man was a definite favorite, but in that time he was like a bench player. And then you fast forward to the first premiere of the MCU, and I think it was genius. It was a genius move because you picked someone that people could connect to on a realistic level. You didn't pick somebody who had like superhuman, you didn't premiere that until later, until the people were ready for it. And what I'm talking about is like Captain Marvel, who is like, she's the strongest character in the MCU by far. Not in the comic books, but in the cinematic portion.
Yeah.
She's the strongest by far. And they premiered her the right way. They did it where they were ready. You're ready for her. You're ready for that kind of power and that kind of, so but yeah, I thought it was great. I think, although DC still holds I think they still have one of the best comic book movies ever in The Dark Knight, with Heath Ledger and I mean, I think that's, he masterfully portrayed a sociopath, and made a comic book legend, very human and very like you can diagnose that and put it in your hand almost and be like, wow, like he almost won. He almost won. Like it was like right to the very end, and he could have won. I mean, there's so many classic scenes that the MCU has them, but not like The Dark Knight. Like for instance, when he dressed up as the nurse, and he knew like he had to, but that was strategic. He had he had to go and twist this man in the hospital bed. He had to twist him, and he knew like he was right there, but he had to push him and get him right then, and you know what I mean. And he did it in style. Like the scene where he burns the money, and they're like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I gotta burn
me out. I
gotta burn your half to get to my half." They're like, "Oh my god!" You know what I'm saying? Like they weren't ready for that. They unleashed an animal that they were not ready for.
Right.
Just like the magic trick. He put a pencil on the foot, slammed the guy's head, made it disappear.
Magic and torture.
Like there's so many of those awesome scenes in that one movie, and the MCU has them in different, but it was more like comic book tropes almost. Like you got the imagery from the comic, and you're like, oh snap, they put it on the TV for us.
Yeah.
But The Dark Knight for me, it was just so many classic moments that with like the phrase, when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object, and we're destined to do this forever. Right? And it's like, it's deep. Yeah, then he's laughing as he throws him off the roof.
Yeah.
He was like, whatever, because he knew he wasn't gonna do it. He knew he wasn't gonna kill him. He knew he couldn't push him that far, but he was just like, yeah, whatever. Like, I don't care. Like, it's whatever. So it's those moments that when people talk about, the comic book movies, and there's a reference at some point where they felt like comic book movies were ruining cinema. And I don't know, I disagree, but before we get into that, like growing up, did you have a favorite superhero?
Yes and no. Like I wasn't a comic book person, although I did collect Pogs for like a little bit. Don't judge me.
I try not to.
Thank you, because I just want to shout out all the people that collected Pogs for a sec. I had no idea how to play it, but I had the Simpsons ones and had the X-Men ones, because all I knew was X-Men from the 90s and cartoons, right? So like my favorite was Storm off the bat, right? Which is not uncommon. And also Beast though, because I really like at least Beast in the cartoon for me.
Yeah.
Like I really fucked with him and the fact that he could be both and in a time where they're like, what? Like he's brolic and he's smart, like that doesn't make sense. Even though they didn't really play him too well.
Nah.
Right. So, but I was like, I always fucked with him. I was like, oh, but I value you. Like you're important. Because I always had empathy at some point, but in terms of like superheroes overall, like I always gravitated towards the villains.
Right.
The villains were my heart and soul. So like when you were talking about Batman, I immediately think about, although yes, Heath Ledger, absolutely. I saw that in the motherfucking movie theaters, right? Like that was an important piece of history to be able to see that for me. But I remember Michael Keaton, right? And I remember Michelle Pfeiffer doing Catwoman, Halle Berry doing Catwoman, despite of how hit or miss it is, like the fact, the portrayal, right? I really fucked with. And the more and more I see as movie-wise, we start expanding and start paying attention to like the layers of the villains and not just good and bad, but I'm like, good be doing some fuck shit and bad be doing some, humane, like humanity, like shit. Like, of course that happens, right? So I was interested in what you thought in terms of the development between, Heath Ledger's Joker and Joaquin, right? Because people really fucked with this last Joker movie. I don't know if you saw it, but
yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, like it was good. I enjoyed like the pieces of it. I've been on those steps in the Bronx, right? Like I resonate. And I'm like, you got away with a lot of stuff with your mental illness. And mental illness is important to talk about. And we need to talk about like the layers with it too. So I was thinking like what you thought about, not to compare the two, but what was your experience of the last Joker?
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard not to compare, but I thought it was a good effort. I thought it was the best effort. I remember there are different versions because, I think the best thing that Kevin Feige did, right, was introduce the multiverse. And explain to people that there are different, and the multiverse wasn't an original Marvel thing. It was actually a DC thing. And he kind of took it, you know what I'm saying, and said, you know what, we're gonna show you how to do it.
Yeah.
And so, but I mean, I felt like it was a really good effort. And I think it spoke about mental illness and the severity and what happens to people when they're pushed to a limit. And like the monsters are created because we create them, because they're born of our society. They're born through low income, poverty,
systemic shit.
A lot of systemic stuff. So I mean, it spoke a lot about it. I think it showed. I think that movie definitely pushed. It shed light on mental health in a way that gave you the comic book aspect, but it also gave you like real life stuff, and people were able to identify with that. And I felt like that was awesome. I felt like comic books have been doing that for a long time. Right?
Yeah.
And I had a conversation with somebody. When I told them that we were gonna do this episode, they were talking about, and he's very like fight the power, pro-black. He was very happy with how Black Panther was rebranded or recreated in a sense where, because in the comics he was just
not
like,
that. Okay.
Yeah, he wasn't, like it was just different. Like he had the panther ears and it was like a weird cape at one point. He wasn't attractive. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then the movies gave him a regalness to him. Provided like he was like, in your words, he was above the fuck shit. Like he was just like, you know what? Like, even though he never gave off that aura, you just regarded him in a higher tone. And you know, but we were talking about like X-Men, and I was like,
Yeah.
you know, like he was like, you know, I get X-Men was talking about racism and how mutants, you know, it's mutants, people of color. He said, I wish that people at that time were ready for Black superheroes because really mutants should have been people of color. And I was like, well, they weren't ready. And X-Men wouldn't be where it is without them doing what they had to do to make the money and to push the brand to where it is. But if you look at like the new X-Men, they're a total eclectic bunch that it's crazy now. I mean, I try to read up a little bit, but it's not like our X-Men, you know what I'm saying? Like it's
evolved a little.
It's evolved a lot. Like it's so they had like their own island now, like their own, because there was like there was a civil war at one point. But needless to say, like comic books have been attacking these issues for a long time, or at least through, and you have these people with fantastic powers or fantastic abilities. But they talk about like Iron Man dealt with alcoholism at one point. He got really dark in the 80s for a while, which probably that was the reason why they benched him for a little while. They talk about Captain America. He dealt with PTSD for a while, with being in all these wars, and then like not really having a sense of himself because he was fighting for so long, and then when it was just like, well, what do you want? He was like, I don't know what I want. You know what I'm saying? I just get up and fight. You tell me I can.
As trained.
Yes. Right. Yes. So you talk about. I mean, there's just a lot of different issues that have come about, and adults, because they never took the time out to read these books, because it's a comic book and it's like they're like, oh, I'm not gonna read that. So the MCU provides those stories where you could see it and you're like, oh, okay, this is cool. Like I get it. And I mean it's dope. I mean I think the movies now, I mean, obviously, if you like, I don't know. I think Scorsese said some shit where he was like, comic book movies aren't cinema, and it's like they are though. I mean, you talk, like why are they not cinema? I mean, this is the guy, these are from the makers, of like the most gangster movies of all time, and all the bloodshed, and why? Because the bullets are real, and and Captain Marvel shooting plasma rays out of her hand. Is it? Like, okay, it's not real, but the message is all conveyed the same. I mean, so I don't know. I feel like
cinema ain't real. Like, how real do you think it's based on our interpretation? Even when we do shit based on fact, it's still gonna be an interpretation based on whoever the director is.
Yes.
Right. So like everybody can have an opinion, and your opinion could just be showing your ass, right? Or showing that you have some type of elitist, or you're very particular about a thing, and that's your opinion, right? Same way it reminds me of folks who I'm sure feel a way about some of the movies because maybe they're not in alignment with the comic books, and they're comic book buffs, right? So they're like, oh, the timeline, right? Similar to motherfuckers that watch movies that are based in books, and they're like, hold on, bitch, you skipped the whole chapter or so and so that was important to me, but it didn't show up in the movie. Right. So like, some of this comes out in truth, and some of it is just hateration and this dancery. Because I think about that, because one of the other people I really liked and had no idea about when I was younger was Venom, right? And I didn't have no backstory, nothing. Aesthetically, he was my favorite, right? Him and Carnage. I liked that kind of stuff when I was younger. And I know that I watched the last two movies, but I also know people have a lot of critique about the movies. Like they thought the first one was awful and the second one wasn't good. And I don't have a frame of reference for me to be invested in it to be like some cinematic masterpiece. I'm like, this is cool. This is funny. He's talking about like, he's a hero, but he also ain't shit. And like talking about the ain't shitness that depending on the perspective, right? Because even, the Venom side of him, he's this real dangerous creature to us. And when you talk to him, he's like the most menial one. Like he gets bitched out by the other ones. He's like, oh no, that's a red one. Like I don't know if I can make this happen. Right? But I think it's important. I feel like we can use that. Like we can talk about that. And those layers, but I look at shit differently. So I'm like, if you mad about it, be mad about it. I watched it and I like it.
Yeah. It was funny. It was good, but it didn't give the comic book people what they wanted.
I'm sure.
It kind of botched the origin story a little bit because just in the origin story was that during the Secret Wars or something like that, Spider-Man needed to be able to fight in space, right? Or something like that to that extent. And I mean, I may be getting this wrong. So
don't be mad at it. We're doing this off the top.
He's sick with this alien symbiote. He was able to fight.
Right.
He became the Black Spider-Man, which was super popular in the late 80s, early 90s. But what he didn't realize was that this symbiote was taking over him. Was slowly starting to
consume
him mentally,
right.
as well as physically, because he needed to take over his mind before he could take over anything else.
Right.
And there was like this big fight where he fought to get this thing off of him, and it was like a fight in this big clock tower, and then where then all of a sudden, like he got it off of him, but the symbiote fell and latched on to Eddie Brock, who was a dude that was down on his luck. And he became, he
was plan B.
Yes, he succumbed to the Venom, and that's when Venom, but it didn't give you that kind of backstory. It gave you an alternate backstory, which Kevin Feige kind of fixed, because when you look at the end of Carnage and he zooms into the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yes.
And then, spoiler alert, at the end of No Way Home, kind of gets zoomed back because of the multiverse. This is the multiverse.
So wait, No Way Home is the new Spider-Man, or is it the Carnage one?
No,
because I didn't see the new Spider-Man. I did see Carnage, and I saw that they were gonna try to add it back to Spider-Man. I was like, that's how it benefits y'all, that it is a multiverse for us to understand that there's these multiple timelines, but that means you have to play with so much. Right. So you're saying you did on a spoiler on the second Spider-Man, and you're saying that they're also looping it back in, the third one, and they're also looping Venom back into that one too.
Well, they didn't, but they did in a way that if you've seen it, you understand. But he gets sent back to his universe, but he leaves a present. To say the least. So it's able to do something where in the MCU where they can kind of create something. Because the MCU is about giving both, where you can like it was like Venom. You didn't really know about Venom, but you just enjoyed the movie for what it was. Yeah. Whereas comic book fans hated it because it didn't connect to the comic books. It didn't provide the proper backstory. Yeah. But I thought it was funny as hell because, like you said, he was like, oh shit, that's a red one. And he was like, no, we need to go.
Chill. Like I'm not built for it.
Or like the first one, he was like, he saw the other one. He was like, oh no, we're gonna die. We're gonna die. I can't beat him. Yeah. But it doesn't work it out. But no, I mean it's I don't know, man. I think the MCU was able to, they've mastered the ability to provide for both fans. And so, like you look at Shang-Chi, I never paid attention to him. I didn't even know, I knew nothing about him really. I had to read up on him when I saw that they were, and obviously from an economic standpoint, it's China, the biggest market in the world, so to speak. They appeased that, and it was very respectful. Like it was it was a well-crafted movie. It was done very it wasn't it wasn't, didn't have the Bruce Lee tropes in it or anything like that. Like it was just very like no, this is, we're gonna pay homage to this culture, but also this is the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so we're gonna add these things to it. And it had great actors in it. It had great Asian actors in it. It was dope. It was dope.
Yeah.
But it like they provided, they recreated, rebranded this character because he's nothing like what he was in the comic books.
Okay.
But he's dope in his own right. And then you have like, I mean, they just did this across the board where you just like Iron Man. Iron Man is everywhere now. They did this with Captain America. They put people in these positions where you can't see anyone else playing them. Because who can really play Captain America right now? Nobody really. Nobody really. Who can play, Thor? Who can play like Chris Hemsworth, and thank God for Ragnarok, because that saved Thor. That really did, because without that movie, there is no Love and Thunder. There is, like, and it gave Thor, like, it made him funny, but it also like provided like, like it also like the MCU kind of reshaped Thor in the comic books, because Thor is a god.
Yeah.
And it was like, like when you see, did you see Infinity War? And you saw you follow his path, and he lost, he suffers and he suffers, but he still keeps trying. And then when he ends up on Earth, and it was like the grand entrance, boom.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, boom, like regardless of it, like, what, I'm here with the fake eye, and I'm ready to fuck shit up. And he fucked shit up. Like he saved them in a sense. But
and funny, like they did the aesthetics. I feel like they upgrade aesthetics for the other people that they know are watching, like whoever is looking at folks to see if they're fine. Because I think of Thor, even though Thor was buff too, it's the personality and the appeal that they have, that who can recreate that in 10 years, 20 years. It reminds me of what they did to Aquaman, because I know the movie wasn't great, right? Like I enjoyed it, but I know a lot of people didn't like it. But aesthetically, he got upgraded, because I don't even know Aquaman like that, and I know that all the references were like, oh, like they keep playing them.
I thought it was dope though. I thought it was dope. I thought. I mean, there was a lot going on in that movie. It gave you like,
I liked it,
yeah, right. And for the general fan,
right.
For a comic book fan, you changed his look, and we got you. Okay, so we're like, okay, bet. And then you got to remember too, right? He had the Justice League, which was horrible, right? So they kind of had to rebound from that, and they did a great job story-wise. They did. There was just parts where like he's in the desert, and it was like, okay, is this Aquaman or is this Tomb Raider? Like, what, what I'm saying? Like there was just a lot going on, but in the end, I felt like it was dope. Like, they took that really corny suit that he had from the comics. It was like orange and green, and they made it dope. I personally enjoyed it. I liked it. Like my favorite scene is in the part where they're trying to escape, and I think he fights his brother, and you think, oh, he's gonna, and the brother whoops him. Like, no, you know nothing about this. And and they're in the ship, and they're trying to fly out. And he's like, get behind us. he's like, yo, he's like really scared. Like, he's like, they're behind us. She's like, what? They're behind us. He's like, okay. Oh, we got to get out of here. I got you.
It's real. Like, we gotta go.
Yeah, I can't swim us out of this. I can't swim us out of this. I can't swim. We're in this ship. We got to figure it out.
That's a lot of pressure. Literally and figuratively.
I just got beat up. I ain't ready. We get fly us out of here. Yes.
It's about strategy. And sometimes strategy is get the fuck out of there and try again.
Yeah. Definitely. I gotta come back. I gotta get, we gotta go to the desert.
Give me 5 minutes.
Work this out.
I need a sandwich.
Yeah. It was dope. I mean, I think at the end of at what we, comic books, and I'm grateful for your thoughts on this because you're a general fan and like from the census standpoint where you just enjoy the movies for what they are. And there isn't a lot of that these days, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of, oh my God, they didn't do this, they didn't do that. Like Reddit is just a horrible place sometimes. Like it's like, dude, they are not gonna recreate the movie that you want. Like, I'm sorry. Like you have to understand from the standpoint of making money.
It's a capitalist thing. Yeah, for sure.
They have, because again, they have to make the money.
Yeah.
There are necessary evils that you have to satisfy to get the things that you want.
In that genre. Yeah. It's expensive too. Like, my
Yes.
lover always looks at how much money they spent and how much money they made.
Yes.
It's like, sometimes it's a dip.
Yeah. No, definitely. And like, they give you the stories and I really can't wait for you to see the new Spider-Man because they literally gave you everything. Like, I mean, it is, I feel like it's not only one of the best Spider-Man movies, if not the best Spider-Man movie, but it's one of the best MCU movies and technically Sony movies ever.
Yeah.
Like, it was, I mean, they literally took it to the next level with Spider-Man, but made it, I mean, it's just genius. Like it was the way they did it was just like, you know what? We have this multiverse thing now, right? So even if the movie isn't good, well, guess what? There's another version that we can try. And there's another version that we can try. And we'll figure it out. We'll figure out what's the best fit. I feel like the only movies, the MCU, that hasn't worked, at least for me, Thor Part 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What was that? Ragnarok? Was that?
No, that was 3. That was 3.
Okay.
I didn't really like Thor 1, but it was an origin story, so I gave it a pass. But Thor 2 was just like, they do not care about Thor. I was like, I don't think they really are giving it the attention. Like that story.
You half-assed it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. But it at the same time, they were in the middle of creating a 10-year masterpiece, which is something, to me at least, no franchise has ever been able to do. Star Wars couldn't do it. Star Trek couldn't do it. I mean, a lot, like they literally created a 10-year piece of cinema that connects to each other, connects to people
consistently,
shows you the people's pains and triumphs throughout everything, and then came out at the end and said, okay, we're not starting over, but we're going to start kind of anew. But people were like, people who have scars though. Like it wasn't like you won, like it was real life. Like you won, but it wasn't, there was trauma involved. You know what I'm saying? Like, like, like in the Disney Plus kind of adds a great piece where they show people coming back from being blipped, right? They show, in WandaVision, they show Homegirl, and I don't want to give away her name because it's kind of a spoiler. But Homegirl, who was with her mom doing her cancer treatments, and she comes back, and her mom is gone. Her mom died. The whole world's gone crazy. She blips back to where she was. She's in a chair.
Skipped.
Right. And she's like, I lost 5 years.
Yeah.
Traumatic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Eternals, right?
Well, Eternals were outside of that. And they kind of botched Eternals a little bit because the blip didn't really affect them. But you like what's her name?
Which one was it?
Black Widow's sister in the new Hawkeye. You should watch that. She got blipped.
Okay.
And they did hers even better because they she's in the bathroom washing her face or whatever, got blipped. And then when she came back, like they show like the whole how the bathroom got repainted. And
Yeah.
she looks around, she's like, what the hell's
What the
going
fuck
on?
is this? Yeah.
Yeah. And then she, then she starts on her journey and realizes her sister died. And there's connections from different pieces where,
Yeah.
she goes on this vengeful path of trying to get some justice for her sister.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's just a lot of different things that they've shown you.
Yeah.
It was dope. I mean, you should watch them. You should watch them all. Like,
Yeah. I'm down. Like, we'll still put a disclaimer that there may be some spoilers, maybe, but maybe it wasn't Eternals. Was it the Winter Soldier one that it felt like it was post blip? Like what happened?
Oh no, it
with
was.
Folks?
It was. Yes,
okay,
it
so
was.
that one was
Yeah.
the one.
That one was
it's like
dope.
because it shows that real shit. Like what happens when people use or in your house and like they're trying to have this government stuff. I saw it. I binged it.
Did you see the scene that I told you to see? With the Dora Milaje in the room.
That's my
In the
favorite.
room.
Like, nah, bitch, I have jurisdiction wherever the fuck I'm at. What you mean?
Yo.
That's the sexiest thing ever. Yes, of course you do.
Yo.
Yes.
And then they had the spear. She threw the spear. Was like hit him right in the. Do you know how skilled you have to be to hit a dude? She lodged the shield into the table. Didn't injure him at all. Yeah. And he's like, what the hell is, and they're beating them to took his arm off. He's like, yo, did you know she could do that? He was like, no. I didn't know she was like, no, you don't need that arm.
I have admin. I am admin in this, okay? This where do you think this came from? Okay? This is Wakandan material. Like, what you mean?
He just looked like he took my arm off. Dudes get beat up. And then to cap it off, took the shield, like stepped on it, put it on, and then like looked at him like
in half a blink.
I might take this from you. I might confiscate this from you. She was like, what do we do? Said, just leave it. She was like, there you go.
We don't need this shit.
And then he very with class handed it back like, here. We don't need it.
Insignificant.
But you're lucky.
Okay. You're welcome. We blessed you. Like, that's it.
Then he was like, they're not even super soldiers. No, they're the Dora Milaje.
Don't fuck around. And it always makes me think of how it's such a Western thing for folks to be very to stand very firm and like, no, but this is a rule, right? Like this is a jurisdiction. Fuck your jurisdiction. Like that shit's not real. Like, hold on.
Mm-hmm. No,
that's power.
Like we're the most advanced nation on the planet. We don't care. Like, listen, we're coming to get this guy, and you're not gonna do nothing.
You're just in the way. Stop.
Like seriously. And then the worst thing he did was put his hands on her shoulder. Like to me, like everything about that series, like I saw where it was going, and I was just like, okay, all right. And then when it got to that point, I was like, yes, this is
right.
It saved the whole series for me because up until that point, it was kind of like, okay. It was, and I get it. I get where they're gonna go. Like I know,
sure,
Anthony Mackie's gonna make his speech at some point, and it was very real. And like you said, it pointed to, like, I mean, let's be real. You got the conflict in the Middle East. Mm-hmm. You know, with the Jews and the Arabs, or the Palestinians.
Right.
Where and like the Palestinians came after they left, and then the Jews came back and they're like, oh, we want it back.
We want to take all of it.
Yeah,
I mean,
we want to it was ours, and it's like, no, like we've been living here, like you can't just come.
Right.
So you had that happening, and then the world's governments are trying to say, okay, well, this was theirs, and I mean, it even made reference. I forget in which. No Way Home.
Okay.
Peter Parker's art was like, No, it wasn't in No Way Home. It was in the second one. She
Mm.
was like, when I came back, somebody was living in my apartment. Because and they talk about, like she was homeless for a minute, like, or
Yeah.
not for a minute, but like she was basically homeless because her apartment wasn't hers anymore.
Right.
And they had to move. Like basically, it was like, yeah, you gotta find somewhere else to move to live.
And that's wild.
And in that show, and I don't like to call it the Hawk, and I like to call it Captain America and the Winter Soldier, because
Yeah, for sure.
Anthony Mack is Captain America.
Mhm.
But they talk about like people being displaced, right?
Right.
And the whole thing of like, well, you can't, like, or how things, so how the bad guys, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
Because really, who's the villain and it's all about interpretation. It goes back, they're talking about, well, we all work together, and then the people came back, and tried to make things like they were, and things were broken like the way they were.
Right. This is the opportunity for you to fix things. And instead you're like, oh no, let's give shit back to the homeowners. Okay, but that still highlights all the fucking people you left out and didn't value.
Right.
So the way y'all do, right? Y'all colonize, y'all go to places that have people and are like, this is mine. So they did it too. So now they gotta leave. Of course they're gonna be mad. And there's certain things that I didn't necessarily agree with per se, but I'm also like, I get it. Do what you gotta do. If nobody's paying you mind and you have a history of people, because it was a fucked up history, but it just shows that some folks will look at that immediately and be like, bad guy, right? Enemy of the state, treason, all that shit. And you're not looking at the layers of like, how did that get there? Right? When was their humanity and their value taken away to the point that they have all this anger or whatever feeling that's rightful anger, but maybe misdirected depending on who it was going to, if you agree with that. Because that's another layer that we'll talk about one day, maybe, because I don't want to take it there, but I always want to take it there, because it's like, oh, you want to highlight that, but we're not highlighting the militarization that happens in the countries that y'all are doing, right? And that you low-key are promoting because you hire military consultants to help you with these movies, right? So like you're putting messages because messages is what's marketable right now. I just don't know if you got your full heart in it. Which is why, like, I'm here for the social justice pieces, but I'm also like, who wrote that? Do we even need that in movies if you're not going to do it in a realistic way? You're going to be like, oh, we are the world. This is what's going to happen. But I also know that I could watch a movie and enjoy it, even if I'm looking at it in these different angles to be like, okay, everything is trash still, right? Like, where's my popcorn?
No, that's the whole point. Like, it provided messages within the glamour and the glitz of metallic arm,
right,
or a vibranium shield, or
right.
You know what I mean? Like it gives you those things, and that's the MCU has gotten a lot better, and I think kudos, shout out to Kevin Feige for stepping to the plate and saying, okay, you know what? Yes, we had to start out with these 6 white people, right? But let me get you to where we could have diversity, where we could have, because, truth be told, the most powerful characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is 2 women. And it might be a third, but it's 2 women. It's the Scarlet Witch and Captain Marvel. And so, it's like, forget, and even, with, so Doctor Strange was supposed to make an appearance in WandaVision. And and he nixed it because he said, we don't want to give the white hero vibe. You don't need that, the white male hero vibe. You know what I'm saying? To come save the day after the woman,
and center.
After the woman done messed everything up. And, and it talked about her trauma, her loss. And she had nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, she lost her brother, she lost her sister, she lost the man or the whatever he was, you know what I'm saying? But she lost him. She lost her companion.
Yeah.
And so like, and there was trauma in that, and having, you know, and it, and they made mention. I love the fact that they made mention that she almost beat Thanos because she almost did.
Yeah.
Like if he didn't rain fire, oh, it was a bit of rap. You know what I'm saying? And so like, yeah, they're constantly, the MCU has evolved and it's getting better. You know, they got a lot of things coming out where you got like Echo features, you know, a Mexican a Mexican kind of hero with not so much abilities, but she's disabled, she lost a leg, and she's deaf. She was in Hawkeye. You should watch that. That one was funny. It was funny. Like you should watch it. It was funny and it was dope.
That's next. Yeah.
You know, you got a lot of stuff coming out, which is, you know, you got Marshala playing Blade. Yeah, I can't wait.
I can't wait
for that. And I know for a fact Wesley Snipes is gonna be in that.
You know it. Yeah, absolutely.
I think because the fans want it, so I think he's gonna end up in it. But I can't wait for that. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, the reintroduction of X-Men, which is a tricky feat.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, Fox fucked it up. I'm just gonna come out and say that they fucked it up. Like they had a point where they fixed it, and then they just said they fucked it up again, and then they fucked it up even worse. To a point where Kevin Feige has to like really strategically plan this, because if you don't do it right, then it becomes the Inhumans. And if you've never heard of that, it's because it was really horrible. It was with the TV. They did it in Hawaii.
Yeah.
It was bad. It wasn't good at all. It premiered on Channel 7 ABC in New York. I don't know what in other places of the country or whatever.
I only know New York.
Yeah, but it was bad. And so but Inhumans was supposed to be a vital piece to introducing mutants into the MCU, and they botched it. So now he's got to backdoor it and kind of figure out. And I think the multiverse kind of does that. You know, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff coming out, and then I think DC's trying to get themselves together. I think the important thing is you have to have someone guiding it who's a fan. Because Kevin Feige was a fan first. He grew up reading these comic books, and I think he's mastered the ability, or is mastering it. I mean, he's done a very, very great job of being able to give everybody what they want. He gives the conventional moviegoers a great experience, an opportunity to just kick back and chill. He gives the geeks like me a visual of the comic book hero, you know what I mean, or the people that they read growing up, as close as you know that you can get to it. And then he gives the people who are funding it their money. Because a lot of these movies aren't really costing a lot to make. You know, they're costing somewhat, but I think Endgame and Infinity War were the most expensive Marvel movies to make, but they made back, like it cost almost $1 billion to make each one, I think. I'm not sure. But each movie made, no, it didn't cost $1 billion. It cost less, but maybe like 500 million. I don't remember. But it made its money back and then some, you know? And then provided, I mean, the MCU, they've also gotten really good at creating villains, memorable villains. You know what I mean? Like Thanos. You know, yes, very. You know, just like the quote unquote villains in Captain America and the Winter Soldier. You know. Yes, the way they were going about it was wrong.
A little.
but their ideology, what their thought process was, made a lot of sense. You know, Thanos saw suffering in the universe due to overpopulation. And he saw it happen on his planet, and his planet died because they didn't do anything about it. So his thought was, I'm going to save the universe because I can. and so, you know, in his ways of going about it, he knew he didn't have enough time to go from planet to planet to solar system, equaling out. So his thought was, what can I do to kind of speed up this process?
Hard reset.
I'm gonna get these infinity stones because I feel like if I use this, I'm gonna be able to achieve my end result. And he planned it out carefully. If you look at the 10-year span, he didn't just go try to get them. Why? Because he knew that the galaxy would come against him. So he sent players. Okay, you're gonna go here. You're gonna go there. You're gonna go here. You're gonna go there.
Yeah.
And then when the main stone that he needed revealed itself, he was like, now I can go get them all because I know where that one is. Because he didn't know where the soul stone was. He never knew. But he knew where all the other ones were. Kind of. But he knew, okay, when I find that one, I can get all of them.
The long game.
And you know, and then a little luck played into it. You know, the Avengers broke up, and then he was able to go boom, piece by piece,
opportunity,
get stone by stone by stone, and when he got them all, he did what he did.
Hard reset.
And I mean that's again, you tell it. They told that story over 10 years, little by little, and you piece it. It's like masterful. Big purple dude, who would have known? Big purple dude was playing chess the whole time.
Right.
and didn't want to. He knew he was like, listen, I gotta achieve these means by any means necessary. Which included throwing his daughter off a cliff.
Ooh, everything was fucking replaceable, right?
And every move was done with remorse. Like he was like, yo, I don't want to do this, but this is the only way. This is the only way that I can fix things, and you're gonna come to understand.
and that's the issue, though, right? Because was that the only way? But he was so adamant on his thing and his point of view, regardless of who was harmed. In his head, it was a bigger thing. Like it was. But
the end justified the means.
And sometimes that don't work. Like that's the same way that you know, I worry about government being like, you know, this area is highly something. Let's just go blow it up because that's better than like it impacting the whole nation. Right.
Well, this is what made him the villain, though. You know what I'm saying? We're not glorifying.
No, but it's just interesting.
But you just, you know, when you look at why he did it. You know, in his mind,
you see rationale.
Like he rationalized it, and then you look at in Hawkeye, the scene where he's drinking tea or whatever, he drink coffee or whatever. And on the cup it says Thanos was right.
It's the little things,
right? It's like, you know, and people are really like it, but you could see those villains in Captain America and Winter Soldier would agree with Thanos. Because things were better when when all the people who were greedy and everything, when they were gone. And we outnumbered the wealthy or the 1%. We were able to do better things. You know? And then they came back, and then look what happened. So you know, the again, very masterfully done by the MCU. They're able to link ideologies and say, you know what, you know, and no, he was wrong for doing that. But you know, listen,
he means well. I mean, somebody's well-meaning shit is gonna affect my ability to live my best life, and that's what my concern is. But I'm like I said, show why I mean, you know,
Yeah.
cinematic wise, media wise,
Yeah.
I'm here for all of it. I think, what am I watching now? Are you watching Hit Monkey? I'm
Hit
watching
Monkey?
Hit Monkey right now. It's
What is that?
Marvel.
What
Oh
is
my
it?
God. It's fascinating.
What
It's
is it on? What is it on?
Hulu, I think.
Okay.
That's where I watch it.
Okay.
And it sounded ridiculous, but I've been watching it. It's I will say the monkey becomes a hitman, but it's still a monkey. Like it's not like radioactive turned into a human can talk. It's still a monkey. The monkey's just getting support. And it started with the origin and everything. That's why I was like, where are y'all going with this? Let me see. Because I was like, what is this about?
I'm definitely gonna watch that now.
You have to.
I
You
have
have
to.
to.
Watch that now.
I saw
have
that and I saw Doom Patrol. Did you see Doom Patrol? Because I
Doom
kind of like
Patrol. I've watched a little bit of it, but not enough. But I thought it
I
was
fuck
dope.
with it.
I
Yeah,
thought it was
I
dope.
like Doom Patrol.
I like Teen Titans. Very
I finished
real,
that too. I
very
finished
real, very gritty. People die.
that. Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's
Some
it's,
people were annoying me a little bit. Like I
Yeah.
could have did with I had enough of the Red Hood for me. I felt for him and I also did it. Right?
He's a-
Like it was,
He's a drug addict.
and that's fine, but I'm like, you still have some type of stuff to work through. Work through whatever your substance stuff is, but it's also your like abandonment and validation stuff.
Yeah. He needed. Listen, I guess you wanted to give him harm reduction, but
I'm here. Yeah, I'm here for harm reduction.
He was causing a lot of harm.
Yes, yes, but it was also very influenced.
No, definitely. Definitely.
But I liked it. I did like it. I did watch it, but sometimes I wanted to shake people. So.
But anyhow, great episode.
Yes.
I'm glad Cindy indulged my nerddom.
Yes. Yes.
You know, I think
Validated.
I think appreciate you, Cindy.
Absolutely.
You have any last words or anything?
Let me know what you think about Hit Monkey, everyone. Let me know.
Definitely.
You might hear us talk about Marvel again because I'm automatically thinking of things that I'm like, you know what? I'll just wait on the capitalism episode. But thank y'all for listening. I hope you're having the week that you need. Fuck that job. No. What's your last job? What's your last? I'm like, that's a whole other episode. I'm like, take care of yourself.
Blip your job.
Unfuck them, but yes.
Yeah. You know, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Us talking. And check out Disney Plus, check out Hit Monkey. Watch, you know, enjoy it. Just enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah.
If you're into the movies, for the comic, you know, enjoy it for what it is. If you just want to forget about what the hell, COVID or anything, watch the movies. Just have some fun, and chill. Yeah,
and tell us about it. Tell us what you think. Are we talking out our asses? Do you disagree? I'm here for all of that. Do you agree? Chop it up with us. We're looking forward to connecting with you. We'll see you next episode.
Word. Deuces. Oh wait, you gotta say your catchphrase.
Oh, shimmies.